Hey y'all, my name is Ashley and today I'm going to be starting my declutter. So if you want to see what complexion products I'm going to be decluttering and what I have, then keep on watching.
All right, y'all, I want to start off with foundations because I feel like going through my complexion products is going to be much easier than going through products like my eyeshadows that I just treasure so much more than a foundation. But in this pile, there are 32 foundations. I got full coverage, medium coverage, light coverage, tinted moisturizers, just a mix of it all. And some of these are still brand new in the box. Some of them are very obviously expired. And some I'm still currently using. I have these two containers. I'm going to do one for keep and one for declutter. And I want to start off with the ones that I'm obviously going to keep. My current go-to foundations are the KVD Good Apple Serum Foundation. So this is going to be a keep. This is the backup to this one. I am almost out. I probably have a week, if that, left of this foundation, which is why I have one right here. This is brand new, and when I mean brand new, I mean purchased a couple weeks ago. The Makeup by Mario SurealSkin Foundation. And I'm sure judging at this pile, you can obviously tell that I absolutely love the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation, okay? I have 4 of them. Now, obviously, I'm gonna be keeping the one that's in the box, but these 3 right here are in 3 different shades. One is too dark for me, and then the other 2 work for me mixed together. So the one I'm gonna be decluttering is the 330 Pecan Neutral, or the 330 Neutral Pecan. But I am going to be keeping the shades 250G along with 300. So I have 2 of these Dior Forever Matte Foundations. Both of these work for me. So this is in the shade 3.5N, which is my summer shade. And then my current shade for the winter is 2.5N. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Luminous Foundation in the shade 315N. This is actually a perfect match for my skin tone currently, so I will be keeping this, along with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. Now, I have 2 of the Dior Backstage foundations. One is for the summer, and one is for myself, and one is like my current one. I will be keeping both of these. But this Charlotte Tilbury foundation, I absolutely loved this foundation when I tried it out, but unfortunately after having it for 3 to 4 months, it started to oxidize within the container. This was not the color of it when I purchased it, and now it's like super orange and kind of gross, so I will be decluttering it. I have 2 of the L'Oreal Lumi foundations. One works for me, one has undertones that doesn't work for me at all. And I will be decluttering the W6, which is this one, because the undertones are way too golden. And I will be keeping the shade Neutral 4. I have 3 foundations from Fenty Beauty. Now, this is like the original foundation that Fenty Beauty came out with. I purchased these at the time that these launched. So that just shows you how old these foundations are. And I'm not keeping any of them because that's gross. Another foundation I have from Fenty is the Eavesdrop Foundation. This is a tinted moisturizer or a very light coverage foundation. I don't like this, so I will be decluttering it. So I have 2 more here that I am going to be decluttering that are more of like the lightweight, light coverage foundations. One is from Natasha Denona. I don't even believe this foundation is made anymore. Then I also have this tinted face oil from Kosas. Yeah, no. This foundation, I don't even have to talk about. This was god-awful, and the brand's closed, and I'm tossing it in the trash. Now, a tinted moisturizer that I do love is from ColourPop. So this is a Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid tinted moisturizer. I love this, even though I think this has more coverage than your normal tinted moisturizer. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep this because it is a fantastic lightweight, light coverage foundation. Another lightweight foundation I really like that's got minimal coverage is from Glowish from Huda Beauty. This, I don't know what this is. This is thin, it smells funky, and I don't want it. This is from NARS. This is the All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation, and no. All that's left are my stick foundations and this Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. I will be keeping this because I recently purchased it because I just wanted to try it out again. This was the foundation I used in high school, so I'm keeping this. These are my stick foundations. 2 of these I will be getting rid of because I know they are hella old, and the other 2 I have to check out first. So these Juvia's Place foundations were great, but I want to say they're like 4 years old. So yeah, I'm not putting that on my face. So I will be getting rid of both of these. And then I have 2 from Huda Beauty. These aren't that old at all, so these should be great still. Yeah. I will be keeping my Huda Beauty stick foundations. I love to mix these with the liquid to get that extra coverage. And then finally, my Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I will be keeping this as well, as long as everything looks right in the component. I will be keeping this. Okay, so I am keeping 19 foundations, but I am decluttering 13. Honestly, that's pretty good. So let me go ahead and move on to concealer. Okay, so I actually only have 17 concealers and color correctors. Concealers don't excite me. I kind of find a concealer I like and just stick with it. I'll be decluttering quite a few of these concealers, and I'm gonna go ahead and start off with 6 right here. I have 6 Magic Star Jeffree Star Cosmetics concealers. I'm getting rid of all of these. So these ones I have used, and I haven't used them in quite some time. So these ones here will be decluttered. Oh, 3 of these I'm actually gonna go ahead and try to resell. One's a color corrector, and then I have the shades C15 and C8. Man, that's like almost half of the concealers. Here is one that I actually got in a BoxyCharm. I don't think I've ever used it, but I can tell it's very much dried up. I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this. So this right here is my absolute favorite concealer. This is from Dior. This is their Backstage Flash Perfector Concealer. This is the concealer that I use almost on a everyday basis, or at least when I do my makeup. So I will be keeping this one. Another one that I really enjoy using is from Huda Beauty. Kind of like my foundations. I like my Dior foundations, and apparently I like my Dior concealers. The same with Huda Beauty foundations. I like my Huda Beauty concealer. So this is the Faux Filter Concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one as well. I did just notice though, I do have a crack on the lid. So I'm hoping that hasn't contaminated the product or dried it out. No, we're all good. I'm keeping this one. Now I do have the older version of the Huda Beauty concealer. This one's discontinued, and this one's hella old. So I will be decluttering this one. But if you are curious, this is the Overachiever Concealer. This is also the one that had the metal tip, which was really nice if you wanted a cooling sensation for application. I'm pretty sure these 2 are expired. I've had them for years. They just kind of sit in my drawer. I don't know why I don't get rid of these things. This one is from NARS. This is the Radiant Creamy Concealer. I believe this is a cult favorite, but I will be trashing it. Same with this Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer. I bought this when the foundations came out. So this one's 5 years old as well and needs to be trashed. So this is actually a recent purchase. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Concealer. This goes with the tinted moisturizer that I love. And I recently picked this up at Target, hoping that I love this as much as I love the tinted moisturizer. Does this count as 2 separate ones, or is this just one? I don't know. One's like a sample size that I received in a Sephora order, and then this is the one that I purchased from Sephora. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer. I enjoy this concealer. This shade is a little bit lighter. Like the shade that's in the full size is like a shade lighter than the one I have in the mini, but I do use the mini when I'm a little bit tanner, so keeping both. This one is from Pretty Vulgar. I don't even know if this brand exists anymore. I got this one in a BoxyCharm. I did use it, but obviously not recently. I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this. And finally, I do have this color correcting palette. And honestly, what ends up happening is this is my second one of these. I never use them before they go bad. I don't even know if this is still any good. I don't know. I really don't know what to do with this. I don't know if I should keep it just in case I need it, or if I should go purchase a new one because this one is older. I'm gonna just put this. I don't know what to do with this because I need a color correcting palette, because once I throw one away, I'll be fucked and I need a new one. I don't know. What would y'all do? This is everything I'm decluttering so far. These are the concealers that I am keeping. I'm keeping 5 concealers out of 17. All of this is going to be trashed, unfortunately, because I believe a lot of it is expired. I'm probably going to go ahead and just donate these Magic Star concealers. I don't feel comfortable selling them to somebody. They haven't been used, but they've also been sitting in a box in a drawer for a couple years. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to powders. Whew, all right, so these are all of my loose setting powders. I have setting powders that I use for my entire face. I have setting powders that I use for my under eyes. I also have illuminating or luminous setting powders in this pile as well, from ones that are just branded as luminous, and then including one that I kind of like mixed together on my own. There are 28 products here, and that is too many. Now, some of these are obviously in the box, meaning they're brand new, not used, and I think that might be a good place to start. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this one here. This is from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. This is probably a product that I got in a mystery box. I'm not usually one to buy a lavender under eye setting powder because lavender only works in my inner corner of my under eye and above my eye, honestly. But I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this because I haven't used it and I don't want it. Now I have this one here is from Smashbox. This is the Photo Finish Fresh Setting Powder. I haven't used this. This probably came out of a BoxyCharm. I believe this is one of those powders that are solid and then you grind to make it loose. I don't need this. This one is from OPV Beauty London. I'm not too familiar with this brand, but I believe this is from a BoxyCharm as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this. So now I have this one here from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I actually will be keeping this. The translucent loose powder from Anastasia is one of my favorite loose powders for my entire face. So I'm gonna be keeping this. And then I have this Laura Mercier one. I purchased this because it's a cult favorite. And honestly, just because it's a cult favorite doesn't mean I need it in my collection. So I'm gonna be decluttering this. Same with this Vizor one. Because the Vizor name, like, you know, kind of means something in the beauty world, it doesn't mean I need to keep it. So I will be decluttering this Vizor setting powder as well. And then finally, I have this one from Fenty. Now, I'm kind of on the fence if I want to keep this or not, so I'm going to go ahead and just put it aside and revisit after I go through the rest of my setting powders. So these are all of the setting powders that I have for my under eye. I'm going to start off with this one from Givenchy. This is a product that I absolutely love. This is in the shade 3, which is the pink one. It's like rosé or something along those lines. I use this often and I'm going to be keeping it. Now, this Nikita Joy cosmetic one, I just got this in a giveaway, I believe in the beginning of November, and I've used it a few times. I've been enjoying it, so I'm gonna keep it. This Gerard Cosmetics one is not really one I wanna be using anymore, so I'm gonna put it aside. I might keep it in my collection, but I'm definitely going to be removing it from my vanity. Now, I have 3 of the Jaclyn loose setting powders that are for brightening. So I have one for brightening banana, I have brightening pink, and I have brightening lavender. I'm going to be keeping the brightening pink and the brightening lavender. Now, I know earlier I said I wasn't going to keep the Jeffree Star one. That's because that one was not used. I have used both of these products, and I don't have a brightening lavender in my collection, but if I need one, I want to be able to have one on hand, and I don't want to buy a new one. So I'm going to keep the Jaclyn one because I do like the Jaclyn Cosmetics formula for these under eye brightening powders. Now, would I go repurchase one or go get a backup? No. I already gave the brand my money. I'm going to keep the product because I do like the product, but I'm not going to sit here and repurchase the product, if that makes sense. Same with the brightening pink one. I like this one. I'm keeping it. The brightening banana does not look good for my skin tone. I'm going to be decluttering this. I feel like I have more of these illuminating luminous powders. I just don't know where they are in my collection. I have a feeling they might be in my highlight drawer, but I'm just gonna finish what I have in front of me, and then when I find them, I'll add them into a different video or this video later on. So this one, even though it's in a KVD container, and KVD does not have a luminous setting powder, this is actually a mixture of a few products in here, and I will keep this because I actually like what I kind of made up myself, and this is a luminous powder that works great for me. I have this one here from e.l.f. This is the Halo Glow Setting Powder. I will be keeping this one as well. And then this one is from Jaclyn Cosmetics. This is actually in the older packaging. This is in the shade Carrots. I will be decluttering this. Okay, so I actually have two here from Fenty Beauty. They're in two different shades, and that's because I used to use one for my under eyes before the colored ones were as easy to get, I guess, because they had a lavender one, but lavender, like I said earlier, doesn't really always work for me. But at the time, I was using the shade Banana to set my face, and then using the shade Butter for my under eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be decluttering the shade Banana, and that is because I've learned that I enjoy having a setting powder that is translucent to set my face over a tinted setting powder. So I will be decluttering the Fenty and Banana, but I will be keeping the shade Fenty and Butter because it does brighten out my under eyes, and if I want to brighten up other parts of my face, this would be a great setting powder to use. I have this one from Marc Jacobs. Marc Jacobs Beauty is no longer a thing, so I'm going to be decluttering this one. I also think that this one has like that, yes, it is a net one. I hate it when beauty components for loose powders have a net here. And when you cut it out, it does look so ugly, which is what I did with my Huda one because I absolutely love the Huda Beauty formula so much. But the net would drive me absolutely bonkers. So as you can see, I cut it. But I will be keeping this one. This one's in the shade Pound Cake. I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Loose Powder in Translucent. This one is opened. I will be keeping this one. And then I have the KVD Locket Setting Powder. I will be keeping this one as well. Last five. So this one is from Beauty Bakery. This is the Flower Setting Powder. Everyone raved about this, and this didn't work for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and declutter it. I have the Wet n Wild Peanuts Collaboration Snow Much Fun Translucent Setting Powder. I will be keeping this. All right, Becca is no longer even in existence, but this is that weird Becca powder where it was like cooling, wet almost, and then it was powder. It is the Hydro Mist Set and Refresh Powder. I'm not keeping this product. This is like one of those really weird products. I tried to get into it. I don't like it, but it also has that horrible net sifter thing. I hate that. I'm sure you can see it, but I just spilt this Tatcha setting powder all over the blanket I'm sitting on. But this is the Tatcha Silk Powder. But I paid too much money for this to just declutter it. It's okay. It's not the best powder, but it's not the worst. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. So I have this Itsy Bitsy Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I have this because I'm like, it'd be great for traveling. The thing is, when I travel, I'll just bring my full-size products. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this as well. Honestly, I have not used this enough to form an opinion. I can't remember how I acquired this, but I have this in my collection. It is like part of that collaboration that Jaclyn did with her mom. It is the Powder Move Loose Setting Powder in the shade Sheer Fair. So I want to keep this to try it out just to see if it was any good at all. This is one of those products where people said they love from Jaclyn Cosmetics. I'm going to go ahead and put this with that Fenty one. I'm on the fence. I don't know what to do. So these three products were the ones that I was on the fence about. I'm actually gonna go ahead and add this to the pile that I have going on. Well, it's not really a pile because there's only one product in it. But if you remember, I had this concealer palette. I'm gonna put this in a pile together and I'll revisit these items rather at the end of this video or at the end of my decluttering. So out of 28 setting powders, I only kept 13. So this is everything I've decluttered so far, including 14 loose setting powders. The next category I'm going to go through are the pressed powders. So powder foundations, contour palettes, anything of that nature is what I'm going to grab now. Okay, so in here are contour palettes. I've got both powder and cream. Then I have some pressed powders. So pressed foundation powders or just pressed powders for touch-ups. It's a bit of a mix, but that is the next category. So surprisingly, I only have 3 powder foundations, and this one's technically not fully powder. So I'll start off with this one. This one is from Maybelline, but this is one of those products that went viral last year. I felt intrigued to purchase this. Have I learned my lesson? Yes. But this is the Super Stay 24-Hour Foundation. I do not like this as a foundation, but I do like this as a touch-up powder to put in my purse, so I will be keeping it. This is another powder that I use for touch-up. I don't use it as a foundation, but this is from KVD, and this is their Lock-It Powder Foundation. And finally, this one is from Patrick Ta, but this is the Cream Foundation Powder Duo. And I actually really like this foundation for my minimal makeup days, so I will be keeping this one as well. Also, I did get my nails done. A complete change from the black, but yes, I'm early, I know, but I couldn't help myself. These products right here are more of an enhancing powders, I guess. So this one is from Too Faced. This is their It's Bananas setting powder. This is a product that I don't really need. I am not a skin tone that banana colors work on. It just makes me look really yellow. I have learned that. The brightening pinks work for me, so I will be decluttering this. Then I have this relic. This is the Too Faced Peach Blur Finishing Powder. And I am going to be decluttering this. Now I have this one. This one's a recent purchase. This is from Makeup by Mario. This is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Enhancing Powder, and I will be keeping it. Now I absolutely love this product. This is a product that I keep in my purse, and it's not usually at my vanity. And this is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder, and I will be keeping this. So these 3 are cream contour palettes, and this is a cream contour pot. So let's start with the products from Iconic London. I don't know why I have 2 of these. Now this one is the one that's at my vanity. This is the one that I've been using when I do use a cream contour. It is the Iconic London Multi-Sculpting Palette. So I will be keeping this, but I don't know if I need a backup. So remember that pile that I was talking about earlier in this video? I will be adding this to that pile. And then I have this Shade and Light Contour Palette back when KVD was Kat Von D. You can tell this was pretty well loved, but this is pretty old, and I think it's time for me to let it go. So I'm on the fence on this little guy because I usually do my contour in like a palette or a liquid. Like I haven't really reached for an individual contour, almost never. So this is from Iconic London, and this is the Precision Duo Contour Pot. So there's a powder contour in here and then a cream contour in here. And I'm gonna go ahead and make the decision to declutter it since I'm keeping my Iconic London sculpting palette. I think I just have too many contouring palettes. So I'm gonna start off with these 2. So both of these are from KVD. One is much older than the other. So this is the KVD Shade and Light Powder Contour Palette. I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this one. This one's pretty old, but last year I went ahead and repurchased it and got the KVD Shade of Light palette in the new packaging, and then all powders in here. So I will be keeping this one. This is something that I don't want to part with, but I really do think it's time to let it go. And this is from Tarte, the Park Avenue Princess Chisel Palette. So this is Tarte's contour palette. I absolutely loved this palette so much, but they discontinued this years ago. So it's time for me to say goodbye, let it go, and declutter it. Now this is not a contour palette, this is a blotting palette. This is from Rare Beauty. This is something that I got in a BoxyCharm. I've never used it. And honestly, I don't know if I ever will. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this to that pile earlier I was talking about. I wanna keep it because I don't have anything like this. And who knows, I mean, I'm oily. Maybe I should be using this and maybe I'll love it. This is a palette from Cover FX. It is the Perfector Face Palette. Now, I have never used this and I've had this for years. I got this back when I first subscribed to BoxyCharm, and that had to be in 2016. So I'm going to be decluttering this. So this is actually a product you can't get anymore. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and declutter it because I would rather go and get the Danessa Myricks Groundwork palette than keep something from Too Faced. So I'm gonna declutter this and then I might treat myself to the Danessa Myricks Groundwork palette. And finally, I have a face palette from Jaclyn Cosmetics. I'm actually gonna keep this because I do enjoy this when I need a little bit of extra brightness under my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. So out of 18 products, I only kept 8. So I wanna go ahead and show you what my declutter looks like so far, but these are all the products that I am decluttering in this video.
So that is going to be the first part of my declutter. I think the next one I'm going to be doing is going to be like blushes, bronzers, and highlighters, along with other fun face palettes. If you would like to see that video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And also let me know down below if you want to see me organize my products. So today you kind of just like saw me go through each product one by one. And if you want to see the organization, let me know down below. But until next time, bye y'all.